with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Holiday Monday in Canada, normal Monday in the States. Welcome back. It's only been 2 days since our last show, and it'll only be 2 more days till our next one. How about that?
I like the challenge of, can Adam Wilde swallow fast enough for the intro to finish? Mm-hmm. Will he finish his bite by the time the song is done?
What's in your wrap?
I had time for turkey, cheese, mayo, and mustard. It was
wow, that's a lot of random things.
I know. I didn't really have much time to put much else in. I couldn't slice tomatoes or put some nice fresh lettuce on that for a nice crunch. I had to run downstairs because I was late. My turn to be late.
Well, yeah.
Hey, lots to get to. Can we start off with the fact that the Oilers blew a 4-1 lead last night?
You know,
let's start there.
I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, a lot of people were relishing in it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of Leaf fans are like, I saw were like, you know what? We get it. And you're about to have a rough week.
You don't ever get over it.
No.
If they don't win the series, they don't get over it.
The worst, it makes it so that no lead ever feels safe again. Ever. Like the Leafs were up 3 with like 2 minutes to go against the Habs. And I was like, well, okay. Wait, okay. I think we'll be good when we get to about 70 seconds left.
Right.
70 seconds left, because then it'll be hard to. They might get 2, but they won't get 3. You never know. Yeah. You never know. It makes it so no lead ever feels safe again.
My initial takeaways from the game were that the Oilers dominated those first 2 periods. I think like when it's 3-1 on the Cassian goal, the shots were like 30-14, I think, and then just you go to the middle of the third and they're just running and gutting, and then Josh Archibald takes the damn penalty and that turns the game. And it's
a dumb penalty, like not even a good penalty.
Genuinely stupid.
Genuinely stupid. You didn't need to do that at all. He's a 4th line player. He's one of the oldest guys. He's 28 and he's like their veteran presence. And like I took from that, I'm like,
that's
okay,
a problem.
Who are the leaders on this Oilers team when this happens, when a 4th liner takes a dumbass penalty and causes your team to a goal directly caused from that? Who are the leaders who are going to calm this down? Because it's not McDavid, because he's the captain, but he hasn't proven to be a leader in the locker room. And then who are your other guys? Cassian?
Whoa, are you sure?
Do you guys think McDavid has been a great leader of this team?
I'll tell you what this is.
He's been a great goal scorer. He's he's literally the best player at scoring goals in the entire world. He's in the highest league of hockey in the world, but he's not leading this team because there are these collapses, and the veteran presence on the Oilers are these guys, or it's like, who are we talking about? Chris Russell? Like that? Those are your leaders who are going to.
Well, no, he can't be.
Fall. He can't be. It's not Draisaitl.
How about Mike Smith?
Well, and here's so this is Mike Smith. I'm going to bring up.
Okay, so every goal that happened on Mike Smith was either a terrible rebound or it went over his glove. The 3 goals that Winnipeg scored were the exact same spot in the net. It was a top corner past his glove.
I'll tell you what this is, by the way. This is Jesse Blake letting out a lifetime of frustration. He is sick of tall guys getting picked on. and when he saw Logan Stanley get hit by Josh Archibald, he said, this is just another alleged short king taking down another tall tree, and he didn't appreciate it. And you know what, Jesse, I get it.
I gotta say, for me, Mike Smith, you knew it was going to come. You knew it was happening eventually. I'm sorry, guys.
Did you?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Ehlers picked the exact same spot he picked earlier in the game because Mike Smith doesn't have it.
This is Mike Smith's drill. Can I read a Shakespeare quote? Because this reminded me of something from Macbeth. Do you guys remember Macbeth?
Of course it did. Sure.
Okay. All right. So, you ready for this? Oftentimes, to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths. Win us with the honest trifles, only to betray us in deepest consequence. And what that means is sometimes that there's like a little breadcrumb thing happening. Oh, I can win this game. Oh, look at that. I beat the Canucks. Oh, look at that. I beat the Flames. Oh, that's great. And then, we beat the Sens for like 4 games in a row. That's great. And then when it matters, Mike Smith, except for that one run with the Coyotes, is going to go back to being Mike Smith. And he had a great year this year. Guys, he's 39 years old. He's going to start the second game of a back-to-back tonight. And frankly, can I get a fucking save here, please?
No, you can't.
You finally get McDavid. You finally get Draisaitl. They're both on the score sheet. And Mike Smith, 4-1. And I mean, I know nobody in the NHL and no NHL commentator ever wants to blame a goalie. I get it. But come on, guys. This is where Edmonton needs to go out and get a goalie. This is where Ken Holland at the trade deadline saying, you can't be all in every year. This is where it comes back to haunt you.
So I was having a Twitter back and forth about that. So part of me is like, well, maybe he was right. But the other part of me is, and Berkshire alluded to this. You looked at McDavid and Draisaitl finished first and second in scoring. Mm-hmm. Draisaitl was second by like 10 points. McDavid was first by like 30. And as an organization, by not bolstering the team around them, you looked at that. You looked at their accomplishments this season and you said, not enough. You looked at that and you said, it's not important. Now, the argument I was having is, well, what are they going to do? They're going to give up, young prospects, and they're going to give up picks at the deadline. Well, okay, there's an argument to be made that buying at the deadline was not the thing for the Oilers 2 years in a row, because buying at the deadline, you're going to overpay. Is this the year to really go for it? But I just feel like the salary cap is being used as an excuse for Ken Holland. The trade deadline is being an excuse. He didn't just get there. And challenges have been put in his way. Absolutely. Obviously the pandemic, but with the flat cap and everything. But every team has had to deal with this. And most teams have found really, really interesting ways of getting around their salary cap problems. We looked at the Blues. We looked at, who didn't do very well in the playoffs, obviously. We looked at the Lightning. The Leafs have done very interesting things. Lots of teams have done very interesting things. The Rangers, and to varying degrees of success. But for several years to say, I mean, the Devils just said to Gusev, they're like, hey, do you want to play here anymore? And he goes, no. And now he doesn't play there anymore. I don't know. There's a little bit of ingenuity there. Hey, what if we just didn't pay you? I agree. I'm down with that.
Well, the great thing about Ken Holland is that this offseason, he's going to have, I think the Oilers are going to be a really good team next year, because on each of their forward groups and each of their defensive group, half the salary isn't coming back. Like they have 24 locked up in the defense, 12 million comes back next year. It's like 50 million in the forwards, 25 comes back next season. Like he is going to have so much freedom this offseason to build a great team against McDavid and Draisaitl, because this team that they have right now isn't it.
No. My frustration here is like, first off, the amount of Oilers fans in my DMs when I woke up this morning going, I know you guys are going to rip the Oilers, but remember they got 22 million in cap space this offseason, so you've already given up.
Yeah, so already given up. They played
McDavid has a top 10 season all time in the NHL, and you guys are already talking about next season. Are you kidding me?
They could win 8-1 tonight. They could.
You should probably give up when it's 3-0.
Well, we'll see.
Like, do you want them to have some faith in this?
Like, this is the best season since Mario Lemieux, and we're going, you know what? And I love Berkshire's take on it too. He's like, yeah, we'll just sign Jason. It'll be great. They tried to get Markstrom this offseason. That means that they were willing to go 6/6. Markstrom chose Calgary, his loss. But if Edmonton if he chooses Edmonton, my question is, where's that $6 million going? Meaning, like, Edmonton would have had to find a way out of the cap situation they're in. So if you could have signed Markstrom, why didn't you go get someone else? Why is your backup? Again, I know Koskinen is that deal. And I know Mike Smith's been good for them. But there has always been a question about goaltending with this team all season long, no matter what you tell me. You cannot tell me that you're relying and riding on a 39-year-old goaltender who has a history of being one of the streakiest goalies of all time, unbeatable, and then cannot stop a beach ball. You know that with Mike Smith.
He's got two modes. Yeah, he's really got two modes.
This is his history. And I just, to put the whole game in his feet's unfair, but they needed a save last night. They needed a save last night, and Mike Smith couldn't give it to them. They handed Mike Smith the win, and he lost it. And I put it squarely on him and the Oilers team defense, and also a great shot from Ehlers. And I do want to shift the conversation just a little bit, boys, because when I watched both TSN and Sportsnet this morning talking about this game, And the only thing anybody talked about was at the Edmonton perspective. No one said, hey, look at these fucking Jets, man.
How about these goddamn Jets? And they're winning games. I'm so impressed with them. I'm so impressed with them because I was looking at the way that they won. And I'm like, you know what? Was I wrong about the Jets or was I wrong? And then I'm like, you know what? They're winning games the exact way I described they would. They're winning games like the 2013 Leafs did. They got caved in last night. They did, but they got wicked finishers. They got killers out there, assassins. Mm-hmm. They don't need the puck for very long. Killers out there, and they got a great goalie. And the fact of the matter is they're not going to win a ton of games where they surrender 4, but they did. Mm-hmm. They did. How many periods out of 9? 10. Or did they have another overtime game?
Yeah.
There've been 2.
Yeah, game 2 was OT.
So 10 periods. How many periods out of the 10 did the Jets genuinely outplay the Oilers?
Yeah, how many periods have they won?
It's less than half, I tell you that. And that might be being kind, but they're winning games the way they have all season. So maybe we just gotta do better with our analysis of Winnipeg Jets flavor of hockey. Because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look pretty, but holy shit, they go out there and they win.
Have they not taken advantage of the Oilers' weaknesses?
Yes, and it's
strategically, you can see them doing it.
They win games the way they have to. And, looking at our playoff predictions, I was talking about, I looked at Nashville and I go, okay, Carolina's going to beat them. But I gave credit to Nashville's playoff experience. And I looked around the league and there were some teams that I just didn't favor, but they have some experience. This Jets team's got a big old bunch of playoff experience, good and bad. They've at least been through it. The Oilers, they had 4 games in the play-in last year. And then there's kind of this gap from 2017 where they looked poised to do something special and they've never recaptured it. Never. I don't know. If they were to lose tonight, what a tortured way to go into the offseason. Mm-hmm. You looked so good.
And Edmonton or Winnipeg?
The Oilers.
Okay, because you switched again.
My bad.
From the Jets.
I do that.
That's okay. That's okay.
But it would be a tortured way to go into the offseason because I'd be like, are the Jets, are they better than us, really? After that whole season that we went through, after we kicked their ass. Mm-hmm. What did McDavid have? 21 points in 9 games? Mm-hmm. Come on.
Yeah. And you can, even a team with Draisaitl and McDavid, get goalied. You can.
Absolutely. Well,
which is why they need to solve that problem. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
I feel this is me feeling sick for Oilers fans, but Jesse Pollock has been one of my favorite follows throughout all this. Oh, just losing his shit all Jets fans, they look like they're having a great time on Twitter, I gotta say.
Don't they always? They're always having a good time.
No. A lot of what I've seen this season is frustration with this team. Right. And I don't think very many fans expected anything. And so they're just loving the ride.
A lot of the Jets, it worries me because of how they played to end the season. Like their last month of the season was not great.
They were terrible.
They come and they get a matchup with the Oilers where it seems just like the way they play just leads into the Oilers' weaknesses. It's this game, it's this run and gun game that the Oilers are trying to play, but the Jets can keep up with it and can keep scoring at whim because the Oilers can't stop anything. And it's not the right strategy for them to win. And the Jets have gotten so lucky. I don't know if it's luck, but this matchup is just so perfect for them that I don't know, is this the true Jets team or is it the team that we saw for 4 weeks to end the season? So I think whoever faces them next round, if it's Montreal, Toronto, it's probably going to be Toronto. But I'm going to pick them as the favorites because one series versus a team that you match up perfectly against isn't going to change my opinion on your entire season.
I wouldn't think that they matched up perfectly though, because the Jets defense has been suspect for a while, right? It's been Connor.
Yeah, but they've got 2 years now where we've been like, this defense sucks though.
And it's Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah, that's the defense.
That's the defense. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Too. It's in there. And then when you're playing these 4-5 games or the 2-0 games, both of them, the Jets can keep up. Yeah. And it's just the Oilers, they just don't have it versus team. And yeah, so I don't know about the next round, but the Jets look great.
There have been 4 instances ever, by the way, of a team coming back from 3 games down. There was the 1942 Leafs. I believe it was the 1975 was it the Islanders over the Penguins. 2010, the Flyers came back against the Bruins. Next season, the Bruins came back and slaughtered them en route to the Stanley Cup. And 2014, I forgot about this. The Sharks were up 3-0 on the Kings. Yes. Kings come back, beat them, and win the Stanley Cup.
Yes. And Joe that was the year I think the Sharks. San Jose should have won that year.
Oh, good God. Yes.
That was their year. Yep. I do want to say it would make one hell of a story if the Oilers come back here. What a great story that'd be. So I do hope they win tonight because I want some interest, you know?
Well, Jesse's going to get clipped something fierce if McDavid goes into God mode and they end up winning 4 straight. Okay. There's also a really great screenshot making the rounds today on Twitter of Nick Ehlers and the Bud Light can that walks around in the arena, like I guess signaling each other after he scored to make it 2-1. I think I would love to know who it is inside the Bud Light can. Also, that was Ehlers' first game.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What a group of. It's we talked about how the Jets looked horrible. But like it wasn't just they were playing bad hockey. They looked like they didn't like hockey, and they looked like they didn't like each other.
Yeah.
No, they didn't like hockey, they didn't like being a Jet, and they didn't like each other.
Yeah.
How do you not love every person around you right now if you're a member of the Winnipeg Jets? You got to be they're going to be out for blood. You got to think if they have any leadership in that room at all, they're going to be out for blood to end this in 4. I don't think there will be too many guys sitting fat and happy. Boy, I don't know how the Oilers come back from this. Maybe Paul they do, but
great head coach too. He deserves some credit for this.
Well, Jesse, that's a point of contention, even on Jets Twitter.
You don't like
Maurice? Yeah. Well, and like supposedly one of the things he said for game 2 was because Dubois and Ehlers were out game 1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And the Oilers still lost. And he didn't bring Ehlers back for game 2. And I think the quote was something along the lines of he didn't want to bring Dubois and Ehlers back at the same time, which is some galaxy brain shit I've never heard in my entire life.
Right. But haven't we always questioned Maurice's comments in the media? Yes. You know, like he's always saying something. And I don't know if it reflects what's happening in the locker room, if he always takes attention onto himself to help his boys, you know?
He does do that. And the second the Stanley Cup playoffs begin, you just change coach's job title to big bunch of liars.
It's so true.
All they do is they get on the mic and they say a bunch of untrue shits to throw as many people off as possible.
Was it Toronto who said we didn't want to tell Montreal we're out for blood because then we're setting up for the refs?
No, I think what Sheldon Keefe said was Montreal said that they were out to make it a war. So Toronto has countered that by saying we're going to play as clean as possible, which we actually are going to get to in the Leaf segment coming up. But I think that sets us up perfectly.
That's the fucking coaches lying about everything. It's just they just say whatever narrative they want to perpetuate in the media to trick their teams into winning.
And 1,000%. Keefe
coaching is just really good at manipulation, by the way. That's all.
Yeah.
And Keefe's doing a good job of it in these playoffs. Babcock never did that. He was always just short answer guy. He played coy with injuries and everything. But like Keefe is, we don't care who's in the lineup. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do line matching. Not afraid of them. What do you think about Cole Caulfield? Well, I don't.
I'm not going to do line matching. And then first line of the game, he sends out Wayne Simmons to line match.
Yeah, that was game 2 though. And that,
to start the game though, he literally line matched.
So I guess we're here now.
Yeah, I suppose so. Let's go. Get into the Leafs. Let's do it.
So I thought that was some intimidation. And what I was trying to convey with Corey Perry heading into this series is I just remember the last game of the season. I saw him mouth the Jack Campbell. He goes, all night. And that was the message, I thought, with sending Wayne Simmonds out there. Hey, Ben, we've had a chance to look at the replay all night, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you see me start my shift, yours better be ending all night.
Yeah.
And they did get the first one. Not going to lie, I was a little nervous. But it was, I mean, from the second Spezza tied it, it was an all-Leaf game.
So what I want to talk about, there's a couple of things with that game because it's been broken down ad nauseum by this point, but I think there's a couple things that we can push forward to tonight. First off, with regards to, where they stand, what did you like about what you saw after the Spezza goal? Because first off, Spezza goal was great, that he intercepted a pass from his own teammate or to his own teammate.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. Yeah.
But it was a vintage Jason Spezza shot. It was beautiful. After that, Montreal not only plays a little on its heels, and I kept tweeting this and I kept getting lit the fuck up. I'm like, Toronto better watch out. The next call is going against them. And I did it 3 times
and
after that.
Wrong every time.
Because there was 4 penalties. So I want to talk about the 4 penalties thing. And then I want to talk about Dominic Ducharme. But let's talk about 4 penalties in a row in the second period. A struggling Leafs power play. When you look at the penalties, do any of them look illegitimate to you?
No. Not one. And the only arguments there is, and to Habs fans' credit, this is what I saw most Habs fans saying. They didn't have a problem necessarily with the 4 or 5, whatever it was, straight penalties. The 6th one was Paul Byron with 30 seconds left. Let's not include that. So let's say 5 straight penalties. The only problem I saw with that is the Leafs don't get one in the middle of all that. It wasn't that the Habs weren't legit. They were. What will go against you every time is the complaining. And they did a lot of complaining. Brendan Gallagher cross-checked TJ Brody in the head and went, literally, me? You could see him. Me? Yes, you. You cross-checked the guy in the head.
Now, a lot of people, Steve, saw TJ Brody's butt end of his stick hit Brendan Gallagher in the mouth right after that.
You're right. You'll have to take that up with the official. That one, it when you go, well, what about this? What about that? What about that? Yes, it is whataboutism, but I mean, it's not the most illegitimate thing in the world.
And normally what we've been taught in hockey is if you retaliate, you're the one who takes the penalty. But in this case, it was the first guy. It was the first hit that like in terms of Gally hit Brody first.
It's if the ref lets it go, here's how I think refs call it. Okay. If a player does something and there's no call, and then you do something like a few seconds later, not only did you do something, but you did it because of the ref, and the ref's like, what is this? You're not liking how I called the game? It's like arguing balls and strikes with an ump, right? So that's the way I look at it. But when it's immediate retaliation to a player cross-checking you in the head, you maybe look at it as defending yourself, right? But then it should probably, I'm sure there's Habs fans screaming right now, it should probably be both of you off. But the cross-check in the head, it's the trump card, right? So they're often, if they got to call one, they're going to call the worst one. Mm-hmm. The Lehkonen one was a slash on Simmonds that took away a scoring chance during a flurry in front, and the ref was standing right in front of it. He didn't miss it. And again, you're talking about fourth line versus fourth line. You got Lehkonen and you got Simmonds, who's been in the league forever. It's not going to go your way, Arturi. It's not going to go your way. Kotkaniemi had something to say to the official after breaking his stick during a cross-check. The evidence is in both your hands, man.
If the stick hadn't broken, it's not a penalty.
I agree. And that maybe that's broke. What he's saying, but like it did, bro. Right. I don't remember the fourth. I do know there was the Weber very blatant call on Engvall in the third,
which he was fined for, by the way, $5,000.
Was that the?
No, that was the Simmonds. Sorry, that was the Simmonds. My apologies.
There were so many things at the end of that game as well. I was shocked that was the only fine, because people were posting it the next day. In the final 20 seconds or so, whatever it was, Simmonds goes up to Sherratt, and he doesn't actually do anything. But Edmondson comes over to him after I think Simmonds had slashed him, to be fair. But Edmondson cross-checked him in the head. There's been a lot of those this year. especially in the Canadian division. And I can't believe Weber was the only one who got any supplemental discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And
probably not a good idea for the league wide on any team to allow cross checks to the head regularly.
It's not good that there have been so many that I've noticed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it was the standard set earlier this season was chase on, cross-check Jimmy Vesey in the head during a Leafs-Oilers game. And that was a game that was over, and there was no need for it. So, like, what do you call that then? Just because it wasn't after the final horn, the game is over. Mm-hmm. So I didn't like it. But the Leafs...
Are you asking them to be consistent? Come on now.
Well, there is
serious?
that.
Come on.
I mean, the Habs did not do a good job of not being exactly what the Leafs have probably told officials they are. And the Leafs went up 2-1. They got their first lead of the series and they fell apart. The shenanigans went up tenfold.
The Habs fell apart.
The Habs fell apart. And the after the whistle shenanigans went up tenfold. And it's what cost them. It's what cost them.
Do you think if they thought that was the only way they were going to beat the Leafs because they wouldn't be able to outscore them, so they got to try and outmuscle them somehow, and it just failed as a tactic?
I mean, from the opening whistle of Game 1, you could tell the plan was to outmuscle them, but Game 1 was obviously a pretty unique animal. I don't know why they would go to that when you won Game 1. You know what I mean? Like you don't need, it doesn't have to be the after the whistle stuff. Let them know you're there. You know, you're in a war, exhaust them and everything. But what's with the stick work? Mm-hmm. Stick work's going to get you every time. And the Habs got to be smarter with their stick in Game 3. They got to be. You're not going to get away with that. You're not going to get away with that.
I think we're going to see a tighter called game tonight. I'm sure the NHL called the officials and said, or whoever's officiating said, call an even game tonight, because there have been several complaints. I believe the Canes, somebody else,
the Blues.
And with, I understand what Rod Brindamore, when he was saying, and let's not get into the Canes series yet, but I understand what Rod Brindamore was saying, which is, how is it that we had 5 in a row and they didn't have any? Well, that's entirely possible. But unfortunately, the way the game has been called to this point, that's made it impossible, which is why it seems so ridiculous. But if you were calling the game to the rules, which is what they should do, you could easily see how a team could get 5 penalties in a row. And maybe to knock it the fuck off. This
is chickens coming home to roost, though. Because remember, in the immediate aftermath of the Tim Peel even up call saga, I remember it was Jeff Merrick on 31 Thoughts. He's like, you watch, the officials are going to be calling it to the rule book. If you're a foot in front of the red line and you ice it, they're going to call that. They're going to call everything.
Yeah, Merrick was being very dramatic about it.
He was, but he was hearing stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I don't speak to any NHL officials or whatever, but
I believe his brother is a high-level referee, so he has some inside info for sure.
Oh, you know what? Brother-in-law,
something like that. Yeah.
I don't. I remember hearing something about that, but there was nothing really, and now it's the playoffs, and now this is happening. So you don't like even up calls? Got it. Heard you loud and clear. Don't worry, you won't get any from us. And now they're not there.
And if the Leafs, it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight, because if they're not calling even up calls, that favors the Leafs. It does.
Well, you would think so. I mean, I don't feel guilty saying this. They're better. Like, the Leafs are better. Mm-hmm. It's just, if you're able to get away with the extracurricular stuff, the Habs have a better shot. The Habs are not so bad that the Leafs are going to dominate them, especially without John Tavares. But they have a better shot.
Now let's talk about the coach's challenge and a couple other things that had to do with Dominic Ducharme.
You mean Marc Bergevin's walkie-talkie?
Right. So here's what happened if you missed it. There was a goal that was clearly a goal. Rasmus Sandin from the point, a slap shot, which we haven't seen from an NHL defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs in years. Nice to see a slap shot. I think Brian McKay last one.
One-timer from the point. Since when?
It was awesome. It was great. What a new weapon. How about this Sandin guy? But the interesting thing about it was you could see Marc Bergevin from the press box say Joe Thornton interfered. You could see him pointing and his hair going wild because he's got a lot of it now.
He does.
You could see him pointing at the screen going there, there, there. Now, when you look at the replay, when you first look at it again, you're instantly looking for it. Well, oh man, his stick, where did his stick interfere? What's Bergevin talking about? And you can, if you only focus on Joe Thornton, see the stick does sort of tap Carey Price. However, by the time the stick taps Carey Price, the puck's already in the net. And so this is where if I'm Dominic Ducharme, I'm pissed off. Because if my boss calls me and makes me make a call like that, I'm already down. Was it 2-0 or 3-1? Sorry, 2-1 or 3-1 at that?
It was 2-1.
2-1.
That goal made it 3-1.
Yes.
That goal made it 3-1. I'm already down 3-1, and you want me to risk it on an iffy call
after they just scored on us on the power play.
Right. And remember that it's not called the GM's challenge. It's called the coach's challenge. So if you're going to push the coach to do this, then it falls to the coach. A lot of people are like, well, that's Bergevin's call. It's Bergevin's call. No, it's Dom Ducharme's call. If Dominic Ducharme says, no, I'm not challenging that, what's Marc Bergevin going to do? Well, who's on the ice?
All right.
And here's the thing, though. So I saw some people say, well, hey, just because Bergevin was there and he was freaking out at the TV does not mean that he was telling Ducharme to do that. Well, what was the guy in the walkie-talkie doing? Ordering pizza?
All right. I didn't like that dynamic of, hey, your boss is calling you in the middle of your job on a walkie-talkie to tell you to do something. What is Ducharme supposed to do in that moment? His GM screwed him.
I don't think anything about this is typical, because the way I was talking about it during the stream is I was like, oh, he's probably walkie-talkieing like the guys in the back. But I'm like, wait a sec, we're in a pandemic. I don't know if there are guys in the back. Mm-hmm. Like if they have like some sort of Houston Astros war room back there. I think it and Burrows was on this all game. So do they have a direct line to the bench?
For sure. Of course
I guess so.
Yeah.
100%. We saw it. There's TV evidence of it.
Why wouldn't you?
And that shouldn't be the case in terms of making decisions on the ice as a coach. Like, imagine he told them like put a player on the ice. Like it's schemy. You know, you shouldn't be doing that.
What's the limit? That's a good point.
So here's, if I'm Dominic Ducharme, two things after the game. Number one, I have a ripping call with Marc Bergevin.
Oh yeah.
I tell him I'm never doing it again.
On the phone. You don't want to have that call in person. He's very large.
He is very large. Number two, it shows me that my own general manager doesn't have the faith in me to make the call myself, which freaks me out. Mm. The only reason Dominic Ducharme would have said yes to something like this is that he is an interim coach. I know he's the new coach, but let's be honest. Marc Bergevin's well within his rights after this season to go, yeah, see ya. We're getting Boudreau. We're getting Tortorella. We're getting whoever we want. It's the Montreal Canadiens. They'll do whatever they want to win.
Oh, give me Torts in Montreal.
It'd be great. So what I'm saying here is I would love Torts with the French media. That'd be amazing. What I'm saying is Marc Bergevin showed that he has no faith in his coach. And you know what? With the way Dominic Ducharme, and I'm going to shift this here, the way Dominic Ducharme has deployed his players and who he's dressed, I wouldn't have a whole lot of faith in him either. Now, Let's just talk about Cole Caulfield for a second.
Yep.
Okay. Not dressed
playing
in the
tonight.
first two games. How many playing tonight? Wow, shocking. Cole Caulfield, who had how many points in 10 games, guys?
5. 2 of those were in overtime, though, and there is no 3-on-3 in the playoffs.
All right.
So that does make it tough. And when you have such a small sample size,
you mean playing under pressure and scoring goals makes it tough to play under pressure to score goals in the playoffs?
Do you think Cole Caulfield should have been in the first 2 games?
Kotkaniemi and Caulfield and Romanoff. Are they out of their minds? These are the 3 best young players, and this is the opportunity. You don't need to win the cup this year. You just need to beat the fucking Leafs. All you got to do is beat the Leafs. Who's your core going forward? Caulfield, Kotkaniemi, Suzuki, Romanoff. These are your young guys. Sorry?
Romanoff.
These are your guys. This is the experience they need. What's Dom Ducharme doing?
When I was talking to Engels, he was basically saying, like, listen, they're all going to get in. But they're all going to get in. Now, wait, though. It's game 1 and 2. That means something. And there's a lot of tie goes to the veteran shit going on there. The other thing, and this I do like the logic here. Cole Caulfield making his playoff debut at home, where you have an easier time controlling the matchup.
So he's more nervous at home, and there will be Montreal Canadiens fans in attendance today, by the way. That was just announced. Apparently there has. I thought it was supposed to be the 28th, but from what I just read on Twitter, there might be actually Canadiens fans there tonight.
Oh, wow.
Are you sure?
I'll check it again, but that's my understanding.
That's the first I had heard of that. Anyway, this is probably an unpopular opinion. I do think Cole Caulfield is going to be great. That's not the unpopular part. He's clearly got excellent finishing power, but for the most part, watching him in the, 2 or 3 games that he played against the Leafs towards the end of the season, he wasn't otherworldly. And 3-on-3,
he's not better than than some of the guys that they played, though.
I will tell you that. Yeah, I will tell you that.
You'll tell me he's not better than all the guys on the team, or like you're telling me he couldn't be better than somebody else on the team.
Who's coming out of the lineup? What's the swap?
Oh God, they're not Caulfield guys.
This is the issue. Like it's got to be like Lehkonen or something. Who's got? I want to say is he a penalty killer on that team? Mm-hmm. They like Lehkonen. Right. So Caulfield is going from university hockey and pandemic university hockey. Like part of me goes, how much does this matter? I wonder. So he's going from university hockey. Then he's got to get used to the jump up to NHL hockey. And then he's got to get used to the jump up to NHL playoff hockey. That's a lot.
Okay, then fine. Explain Kotkaniemi.
That one is a little bit more difficult. I mean, he was looking pretty good in game 1 when Eric Stahl helped set up Josh Anderson for the first goal.
Who's he?
Josh Anderson? Oh, sorry, Eric Stahl. I thought I said Stahl.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Eric Stahl sets up the Josh Anderson goal. But I mean, I think the only reason Kotkaniemi was in game 2 was Jake Evans got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I think the plan was always to have the young guys play game 3 in Montreal. I haven't heard that. I do think.
But what kind of plan is that?
They're not as well trusted defensively. And at home, you go, okay, they have better skill. And I think I'm a smart enough coach that I can protect these guys and I can put them in a position to succeed.
And you're telling me Romanov's not good enough to make the top 6?
Romanov is confusing.
And let's put this out there. You want to confuse this even further. And this is where, if I'm Dominic Ducharme, I would be worried because I'm not really sure. I'm just going to come out and say it. I think the Montreal Canadiens need to get away from only hiring francophones. And I think Dom Ducharme, this is the perfect example. Who has been the scariest player on the Montreal Canadiens forward group all series so far?
Game 1, Josh Anderson. Game 2, nobody.
Okay. So if you're going to, but if you're going to cap it, Josh Anderson still was the best of the forwards, I would say, in game 2.
Man, I don't think anyone was good.
Okay. Well, was he not a part of the first goal in game 2?
I'm trying to remember who assisted on that goal. You might be right. That was maybe one of 2 or 3 bad shifts they had all game. The Habs really hemmed the Leafs in there.
The game 2 goal was Kotkaniemi from Armia and Toffoli.
Okay. So what I would say is the player who has looked most dangerous for the Canadiens so far, if nobody looks dangerous in game 2 and somebody looks dangerous in game 1, it's Josh Anderson. How much ice time does Josh Anderson average, guys?
Great question. Well, he starts on the 4th
minutes?
line. 17 and a half.
16:25.
Yeah, that's not enough. That's
Are you
not
kidding
enough.
me?
He was the best player on the ice in game 1.
That's the average. And I know that they took 4 penalties. But guys, if they've taken 4 penalties in a row, then Josh Anderson's out there double shifting.
I was about to say, it's the playoffs. There's no limit.
What are you saving him for, Dom? The guy's unbelievable. He's a monster. This is why Bergevin signed him to a 7-year deal.
The home ice thing matters. I bet he lets him fly. But
the playoff thing matters, Steve.
Yes.
And I love you. And I know you know what I'm saying here. My frustration isn't with you. It's the idea, well, you know what? We're going to save him for game 3 and game 4. What kind of fucking system is that?
No, Adam, what it is me trying to give the Habs as much credit as possible. And this is the mode I try to get into for the streams. Okay. I go, okay. Like I try to look within myself and go, what am I not seeing beyond my blue glasses?
This is a really good hockey team. They are not being
Habs?
deployed properly. Yes.
Yeah.
It's look at the winger depth they have. It's unbelievable.
They also, this trying to beat the Leafs up and fighting fire with fire, I don't know if it's going to work just because this team's beat the hell up. Like a lot of these guys barely made it into game 1 of the playoffs. Gallagher and Price did not look good.
No.
In game 2. Shea Weber and Deneau, and these guys are hurt. These guys are beat up. The Leafs have their fair share as well. But
as one does going into the playoffs.
If you need to be at your toughest to beat the Leafs, I got bad news.
By the way, it's Eric Stahl is the one who's coming out of the lineup today because he is injured, and that's where Caulfield is going to slot in. Tatar would usually be the one who comes out when Caulfield comes in, but Tatar's staying in the lineup. So Eric Stahl's injured and out.
That was confusing. So Tatar was coming out earlier, and then they announced it was Stahl instead. So does he get the Galchenyuk treatment with the Habs, where they're like, okay, you're out of the lineup or you're on our second line?
Who, Tatar?
Yeah, or it's top line or second line.
Yeah, it would be the second line winger there.
You're either a top 6 player or you're not in the line.
Or we're sitting you for this younger guy who does what you do.
Tatar is not a defensive guy.
No, but I thought he probably had one of... I mean, how many scoring chances did the Habs have? It wasn't very many, and he definitely had one.
Yep. I think
he's a good finisher.
I think that you... the reason I said what I said about the Francophone coaches thing earlier is I think it severely limits Montreal. You cannot tell me that Dominic Ducharme was the best option they had available this offseason. I'm not impressed from what I've seen this off. They should have kept Claude Julien. Like, honestly, what's the big difference that they had with Claude? Other than Marc Bergevin can call Dom Ducharme and say, challenge that puck. Other than that, because Julien wouldn't have done it. Other than that, what have the Montreal Canadiens shown that's that much different than what they had under Claude Julien after their hot streak to start the season? What's different?
Is this a case of they didn't want to make a decision mid-season? Because remember, Claude Julien was fired in end of February, right? So maybe they didn't want to commit to a guy and they give the assistant Ducharme the chance, The
other thing, so Engels has said, or I don't remember who it was I was speaking to, they were basically like, listen, I get it. I get the argument against it, but it matters. But I can't help but feel like in 2021, there shouldn't be some way around it.
In terms of what?
Okay, let's say the best coach available is Anglo McAnglophone. Like he's some dude. He doesn't even know how to ask to go to the salle de bain.
French exists.
Yeah, he's never had a croissant in his life. He doesn't know anything.
He's from South Bend.
He's never.
That's right.
he always got 0 in French class. We can't get this guy a translator. Like we can't get
put him in French lessons
or something. Now most coaches don't want to go through that shit. Hi, would you like to be coach of our hockey team? Yes. Okay. Also, you have to learn a new language. Okay. Well, how about I would like to go somewhere where I don't have to do that? My question is, how does Bob Hartley or Mike Keenan go to the KHL and win a championship? There's my question. It's obviously not in their way, right? So what's going on there?
They didn't have any other options, Steve.
Yeah, but
nobody was hiring Bob Hartley ever again, and no one's hiring Mike Keenan ever again.
Right,
but they don't speak the language.
What I'm saying is they get past the barrier and succeed in that league.
Because it is less to do with the coach and more to do with the perception. You got to remember Quebec culture. There's a lot of hardline Quebecers that still think Quebec should be its own country and don't, have a real, the Quebec government is extremely sensitive about, there are laws about ever even having English in your sign if you own a store. right? They're protective, and I understand being protective of the language, but at a certain point, do the Canadiens want to win, or do they, because I could tell you, if the Canadiens win with a great head coach, like imagine they got like a Barry Trotz and they just smothered every team and smothered their way to a Stanley Cup, which teams have done, by the way. Do you think anyone cares that Barry Trotz doesn't speak French?
It's a blind spot I think the three of us will always have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know what to tell. Like, say the Molson family is like, hey, we need a head coach who can also speak French. I don't know what to come back and tell them, like, no, you should just hire the best guy. Like, I don't know if they feel like it's important to the culture, then I feel like then it should be important, right?
Yeah.
And it's a PR move. But you have to accept that. And there have been many, many Montreal Canadiens, like commentators in Montreal, in Quebec City, who've said, we should not be doing this anymore. Oh, really? I've heard people do it. I've heard the rants. And it's one of those things where, it's a small thing, but it's a big thing.
Who's the last guy?
Available. These are the Montreal Canadiens.
Who's the last guy?
Incredibly successful franchise.
Who's the last non-French speaking coach?
There was
Randy Cunningworth.
Yeah, and he was
ran out of town.
Yeah, because he didn't do anything to endear himself.
Well, and I also I don't think he's been a head coach since.
That is the correct answer. Randy Cunningworth.
And I don't even think he known for, or was it an Argos coach? There's an Argos coach known for wearing like a red coat to every game or something. And I think Randy Cunningworth had the same sort of thing. Like you didn't see him in Habs memorabilia or something, like it was some weird thing. It seemed like with him, he actively just was like, screw the French thing. I'm just here to coach. And it's like, well, no, you can't do that. You can't be like, screw local culture. You have to, there has to be something to that. But I just think, listen, I get hiring French Canadians for French Canadians, and I know that there is mountains of talent out there. But please don't cut yourself off from getting the right head coach, because I don't think Dominic Ducharme is it. I think
PK Subban made himself so popular in part because he couldn't, but he tried.
Try.
Yeah.
Just try.
Yeah.
And learn.
I think it'd be interesting for them to try. Like, you know what? A few years ago, we weren't ready.
Mm-hmm.
What about now?
Mm-hmm.
What about now?
All right.
And listen, guys, we're still gonna, I mean, it's not like the Leafs have been immune to this, right? There's, a big controversy. They don't have enough Ontario kids, or they don't have any Ontario kids, and they don't draft enough Ontario kids.
From who?
The old guard.
From Don Cherry.
Yeah, and I assumed, but Don Cherry doesn't say things and then no one agrees with him. Right?
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
And then this is part of the problem, right? So I'm sure the Quebec equivalent, right, goes with, we need a francophone coach, and I'm sure it's not just the entire population of Quebec going, I disagree.
No, I agree.
There's a contingent, and I just wonder if enough time has passed, and 2021 going into 2022, I wonder if it's just different enough that you can give it a shot.
I think a team on the upswing like the Canadiens, it'd be a good time.
Yeah.
So, and
just two things. It has no effect on the guys in the locker room because your players come from every different background. They speak all different kinds of languages, especially in hockey with so many European players. And two, what was my second point? I forgot my second point. That was the main point.
You know what, Jesse? It was so good. It was 2 points in one. So
there you go.
Here, last one little maybe defense for Dominic Ducharme.
No,
we've seen the difference in the Leafs this season and last. What a difference being the head coach for a training camp makes.
Yeah.
I remember my second point. My second point was winning cures everything. If you brought in a guy who couldn't speak French and then he started winning, nobody would care.
Now, tell you what, Dominic Ducharme beats the Leafs. He's your coach next year.
Yeah, we spent a little, when we'll see what happens tonight, because it really is sort of a ball toss in the air. I do want to move on. This is not the series I wanted to get to next, but in case it reaches your timelines before I'm able to send it, Steve, you got to look up. No looking on this, because I want to show you something. This is from Philip Grubauer's Instagram account.
Oh,
are you ready?
Oh.
This is posted 22 minutes ago, and the caption is "Memories from Round 1."
So it's him staring down Jordan Binnington with the refs trying to keep them separated. Very good.
Funny, right? Very funny.
Good.
Now that series is interesting. The Avs outscored the Blues 20-7. They were down a grand total of 7 minutes and 12 seconds the entire series.
I'm surprised it was any seconds. That's
holy shit. Six of their goals, by the way, were empty netters, but that just tells you how out of reach the games where you're not going to win a lot of games when your average goals against.
Sorry. They outscored them 20-7 and they had 6 empty net goals in 4 games.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes. But you're not going to win games. You're not going to win a series if you're averaging 5 goals against or even 4 goals against.
Oh my God.
This wasn't close.
Ass kicking. Holy shit.
I know.
Really?
Yeah. Well, here's the most telling part of this series is Tarasenko's quote afterwards. You ready for this?
Yeah.
He said, "This is embarrassing, always losing in the playoffs. The answer is there are no excuses.
Always.
We don't fight enough.
So there's a language barrier there. So maybe it does matter.
Not knuckles to the face. Talking about. Yeah.
Right. I don't think that's the issue, man. I think it's just that the Avs are better.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. The Avs
They're way
are
better. And it doesn't help that your resident tough guy
is
in
Bennington.
Well, you have Kyle Clifford. I don't know how much he played. And there's also Robert Bortuzzo on the back end. He got his orbital bone broken by Tyson Jost. Ooh. And that was the main complaint Blues had, probably justifiable, that he got elbowed in the face, literally got his face broken, and I don't believe there was a call.
Craig Berube, coach of the Blues, said the Blues back line were said injuries, especially to the Blues back line, like depth, were a factor in the series. He said, but we're not going to offer that as an excuse. Hey, by the way, people I didn't know were Avalanche. Brandon Saad. I forgot. I knew he was, and then I forgot that he was, and he scored last night. So good for him. Everybody says I hate Brandon Saad. I don't. I dislike the trade he was involved with and had no say in. And Nazem Kadri, by the way, served his first game of the 8-game suspension. Will be appealing that, but we'll see. Remember Dennis Weidman? He appealed it, and they're like, okay, we'll reduce it to 10. And he already sat out
16 games. Yeah. And you don't get them back.
Yeah. So I don't know how long the appeals process is, but I would imagine, having dealt with lawyers myself, that it's going to be a long time.
And it can be a double appeal. So the first appeal goes to Gary Bettman. And if Kadri still isn't satisfied with Gary Bettman's decision, then he can go to a neutral arbitrator after that. So we could have an extended double appeal. Also, the St. Louis Blues' complete lack of offense is probably why they lost.
Well,
7 goals in 4 games is trash.
Yeah, and Robert Thomas and Ryan O'Reilly led their team in points with 3 assists each. You're not going to win any games with that.
So now, I don't want to spend too much time on that series because our timelines are a little tight, and I would like to move on. But it was a sweep. It wasn't close. And that Ryan O'Reilly quote at the beginning of the series where he was like, "Yeah, we're just going to come out and beat them." You're not.
That's a tough one for the Blues, whose standard has changed, right? They won the cup, so now that's the standard. But I think the next steps for the Avalanche should maybe tell the Blues where they are in the pecking order of the league, because what if the Avs take on, it's looking like Vegas right now, what if they play Vegas and just steamroll them?
Mm-hmm.
How bad do you feel? Or do you just go, no, we played a monster?
They need to rework some things. I don't know if Hoffman had a decent regular season. I don't know if he worked in the playoffs. Do you bring back Bozak? Are you happy with all the money you have on defense? There's a lot of questions in St. Louis.
I'm just saying, Pietrangelo would have been awfully good on that back end.
He probably should have kept him.
What an off season. Sorry, by the way. So to what
you really do need to move us on from this as quickly as possible, guys. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay, very quickly. It was Saad and Dennis Gilbert for Nikita Zadorov, who's not a very good defenseman, even though his hits are very fun, and Anton Lindholm. And then they got Devon Taves for 2 second-rounders. Tidy work.
Yeah, that was a killer trade. Unbelievable. One of those trades I wish the Leafs had made. Nashville and Carolina are tied.
Hi, Adam.
They're tied. Now, I saw a ton of Nashville fans in my mentions and on my DMs. Let me just say first, guys, how sick was it to see that crowd?
Yeah, great crowd.
Just to see that crowd
Jealous.
back in there ripping it up.
Eric
They're the best.
Young amongst them. Our friend of the show, Eric Young, was in the crowd for that. Shout out, Eric.
God bless him. Hi, Eric. And there's nothing better than Nashville's crowd. Nothing.
No, it makes an impact, doesn't it? You see,
However,
wrestling.
I see.
The wrestling.
But let's get into the real numbers here. Okay, you ready for this? I got some staggering statistics for you.
Hit me.
Okay, so the only reason Carolina loses this game and the only reason that Nashville's even in it is UC Saros. We know that.
What
okay?
happened, Adam? Did Nashville win?
Nashville won, but in double overtime, and they squeaked out.
Just checking the scoreboard.
So it doesn't count.
Yeah,
No.
it counts.
Nope.
But let's have a look at this. We're talking about trends here. Carolina outshot Nashville by 20. So by the second OT, the Canes outshot the Preds 61-43. And here's the more fun stat. The Predators had also blocked 31 shots, which means you're close to 90 at that point in 5 periods of hockey. Guys, Carolina got goalied and just barely.
They did.
Barely.
They did, but I tell you what, Carolina, I still have them going to the final.
Mm-hmm.
They're in danger of becoming like that team that just can't get over the hump.
You mean the Leafs?
Jose.
The Leafs of the just before the 2004 lockout. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, here we are. Hey, we won a round, and there we go. And hey, here we are, and we're in round 3, and there we go. And hey, here we are. Kind of like the Sharks a little bit. The Sharks prior to actually
St. Louis
making
prior
the
to the Cup
final. Yeah. Dude, the Caps prior to the Cup.
The Cup came for them.
They're in a little danger of getting there. And I know you look at the process and you go, guys, they're the better team. Okay, win.
All right.
Like that's the thing about the playoffs. The regular season, part of the reason I've actually had an easier time enjoying the first 2 playoff games for the Leafs is I stopped caring about the how. I don't give a shit. The regular season, I care about the process. I want to see what kind of team you are. I want to know what to expect, what your identity is. The playoffs hit, and I'm like, win! Get outshot 70-6 and win! Don't give a shit! Yeah. Do not care. Just win. You think any Jets fan cares that they've been outshot? Nope. We just get in there and friggin' win. It's the best.
I wonder how much of the roster from the Predators is left over from that team that went all the way to the finals. And they had some deep runs, and not that it was a while ago, but I mean, some of their major players were all there, Ellis and Ekholm and those guys. And I wonder if that's another one of those things like with the Jets where there's a little bit of experience in the room. They keep it calm for the newer guys, and they're back in the series. It's going to be very interesting. And I think if the shot totals continue, it's inevitable that the Carolina is going to win. It's inevitable. If the shot totals continue to be this lopsided, it'd be crazy, but it can happen. It can happen.
It certainly can. Welcome to the playoffs. Right. Listen, Carolina, I enjoy the blanket that you sent me. Do not make it so that it's out of date by the second round.
Right.
That's not fair to me, and it's not fair to James. It's not.
When it's 2-2, it's such a toss-up because it's a 3-game series. Anybody can win 2 games.
They'll be fine.
But the Bruins kind of dust off the Caps in 5 games, which, to be honest with you, I thought that was going to be a closer series. It just wasn't. The Bruins are solid all the way through.
So there's the major thing that came out of that is it looks like they want to move on from Kuznetsov so fast.
The Caps?
Yeah. Justin Bourne had my favorite tweet out of that. It was something I wonder if I have it here. It was something along the lines of, I can't wait to see who Kuznetsov plays for next season.
Didn't Wyshynski have something like, it's going to be great when Vegas signs Ovechkin?
Well, I think they re-sign Ovechkin. Come on, Wish.
Vegas is always going to be in on it.
Yeah. But Kuzi, they were upset with him in early May. The report from Pierre Lebrun was that they were very upset with him is the COVID protocols thing, and then just his play on the ice. And then he's out for 14 games. Then he misses the first 2 playoff games because of more COVID protocols, and everybody's fed up with him at that point. And then at the end of this, it's it's a goalie interference penalty that he clearly just shoves the goalie he shoves Rask for no reason. The goal that would have made it 3-2 is taken back on the power play with 5 minutes to go in the closing game of the series. And it's his fault on there. And it's like, how are you happy with this player? And then now the issue is you got 4 years left and it's like 72 million. But if there's a taker for this player, if you think he can rehabilitate his career from this season, then somebody's going to take the contract.
My question would be, how do you lose Vrana and Kuznetsov within 20 regular season games of each other and come out on top?
And you want to talk about short memories in professional sports. This guy not just won a playoff series for you in overtime. It was against the Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken this tiny amount of time and get lost.
Yeah. I was listening to Friedman on the 31 Thoughts podcast today, and he was like, Kuznetsov probably should have won that Conn Smythe that year. And then now it's great. It's 2 years later and 3 years later, and they want to move on from him this quickly.
Who did?
Ovi.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
it usually just goes to popular guy.
Yeah.
Like Phil Kessel should have won. He should have.
100%.
Should have absolutely
definitely
won.
agree with that.
The thing is, the Capitals do have a reckoning ahead of them. They really do, because you got to keep Alexander Ovechkin, obviously, but the negotiations have not gone well. So where you've put together a team that had an extremely strong offseason, but obviously had COVID issues with Kuznetsov. Obviously, who was the guy that was like caught doing cocaine on a phone, and then it was like, it wasn't me. And
it was him.
It was Kuzi. Yeah.
Okay. So, so maybe it's time for a change of scenery there. But again, I ask, you lose Vrana, you got Mantha. Mantha's a very good player. And you lose Kuznetsov. That's a significant change in personnel on that team, because that team's been, the nucleus of that team, Backstrom, Kuznetsov, those guys, they've all been together a long time. Ovechkin. And then so how do you come out on top of a Kuznetsov deal?
Oh boy,
or net negative, or sorry, not negative, net, like even. How do you come out even?
You're trading him at his lowest value. That's the thing, if you want to move on.
To the point about the Conn Smythe there, Jesse, Ovechkin led the team in goals with 15, but Kuznetsov had 12, and he had 32 points to Ovechkin's 27. He had 32 points in 24 playoff games.
Awesome.
Monster. Good Lord, that guy. Listen,
boy, if I'm Seattle, I'm making that phone call.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the Caps, and I'm trying to look at their top scorers, and I'm trying to look for ages that start with 2. So, man,
that's a fun game.
Kuznetsov's one of them.
It ain't good. So they got Backstrom 32, Carlson 30. This is in order, by the way. Backstrom 32, Carlson 30, Oshie 33, Ovechkin 34. This is at the beginning of the season, I assume. Tom Wilson 26. There's one. Kuznetsov 28. Justin Schultz, really? 30. Jake Vrana, 24. Wait, oops. Lars Eller, 31. Then Connor Sherry, 28. Dmitry Orlov, 29. That won't start with the 2 for very long. Take it from me. And then Daniel Sprong. Like, this is a pretty old team, man. And like, they recently got Brendan Dillon. That dude's 29. Carl Hagelin's 32. There's a lot of... and Earl Schwartz tweeted this last night. I couldn't believe it. Because of Zdeno Chara's games played performance bonuses, that the Caps are going to go into overage next year against the Cap.
Oh, God.
Because of a 44-year-old. Now, I know it's not just any 44-year-old. It's Zdeno friggin' Chara.
Still, you don't do that.
But
you don't do that. I think they rightfully felt like they had the chance to win the Cup this year. I don't think it was wrong of them to think that.
Yeah,
they dominated in the regular season. Dominated.
Yeah, okay,
you were great.
Okay, this is the second straight playoff you've looked like shit.
Okay, fair, but they didn't know that. They didn't know that. And also,
But
now everybody in Washington gets to see what it's like when a really, really good hockey team that does super well during the regular season looks like shit against the Bruins in the playoffs. And hey, by the way, Washington made it 5 games. At least we made it 7.
All right.
Right?
Do you take something from the fact that like there's a bunch of first round exits and then a Stanley Cup and then 2 straight first round exits? Like, is that troubling?
Sure. And the troubling thing is the guy who I think was one of the most instrumental parts of them making it, Barry Trotz, doesn't coach for you anymore.
Right.
Well, and the Kings for a while, but they mixed in a couple cups there, so it doesn't really count. The Blues. No one ever looked at the Blues during the Blackhawks and Kings swapping cups for literally 5 years. No one looked at the Blues during that time period and said, this team sucks. Why can't they do it? The answer was right in front of you. Well, here's why. They can't do it because the team that keeps winning the cup keeps playing them in the first or second round. It's really hard. The Capitals aren't getting that. They're not getting that benefit of the doubt. And 2018 was not recent anymore.
Nope.
You know what I mean? It's there are some tough decisions coming there in Washington.
Go ahead.
Well, sorry, it's an advanced Sidney Crosby conversation, and we've had it a few times. Can you imagine Crosby playing anywhere other than Pittsburgh? And the answer is always no. Does Ovechkin ever play somewhere that's not Washington? It would feel so gross.
Can I posit something? Can I just put something out there? I gotta remind everybody that the Capitals outshot the Bruins 41-19 in this game. Tuukka Rask has been unbelievable.
Was that what it was?
Is the last year of his deal. There was 5,000 Bruins fans there, and they were all chanting Tuukka. And Bruins fans hate Tuukka for some reason. And I like Tuukka because he was a Leaf at one point. Damn it.
941 through 5 games.
Come on. Yeah. I mean, what chance do you have?
It didn't feel like Washington was ever in that game. Like when Pasta, he walks Nick Dowd. I don't know if you guys saw that goal, but best goal of the playoffs so far, I think. He walks him, and it's like these guys are dejected. I don't think Washington ever believed they could win. And because Rask is standing on his head and they can't get anything going. And then when they do, it's taken back because of a goalie interference. They were never really in it.
Nick Dowd, by the way, I believe he had the OT winner in game 1. Mm-hmm. And every game after that had a bad Nick Dowd highlight.
Yeah.
Like he had an embarrassing series. He had a tough series after that game 1.
Yeah.
He had that wasn't nothing nice.
I just want to do a quick note. Congrats to Taylor Hall, Curtis Lazar, and Mike Riley. They've all reached to the second round of the playoffs for the first time in their careers.
I told you they had a good deadline. They had a great deadline, the Bruins.
Taylor Hall, second round pick.
He looks great.
But even like
Bruins always get the guy. They always
get the guy. It's not like Lazar's been unreal, but like he's been a contributor. And Mike Riley, really underrated. He's been underrated for at least a couple of years now in Ottawa.
Yep.
Yeah, really like him. What did you make of Ovechkin screaming at Samsonov there in the net after he screwed up? Like what was
frustration?
That, 3 or 4?
Yeah. Samsonov's injured too, right? Like he's not in full health.
And that's your backup goalie too. It's not even your.
I think he's supposed to be the starter. He's supposed to be, I think.
Yeah, let me look. Vanacek or whatever his name. I can never remember.
Yeah, I can't pronounce his name. Vanacek. Yeah, I think Vanacek was the starting goalie. I think going into the series.
You do?
Available.
Right.
Maybe you're right. Oh, you know what?
But he's been injured, right?
Yes. So he was injured in game 1, and that's why Anderson had to come in.
Yeah, he started the series, did he not?
Boy,
he did, but that's because Samsonov was injured.
Goaltending was tough this year. So Vanacek played 37 games. I don't think the plan was for him to be the starter, though, in this season. I think he just won it. So he played 37 games, had a 908, and Samsonov had if I remember correct, he had a really bad start and then got much better, but he had a 902 in 19 games. Craig Anderson was a 915 in 4, but I mean, I don't know. It's still fun. They got probably, I mean, we seem to say this every year, but what an interesting offseason they have coming up. Seattle, baby.
Yeah, Seattle. It's going to be very, very interesting. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what happens. And like I said, I think if the Caps overreact here, that it's a mistake. Get Ovechkin re-signed. You might even want to try Kuznetsov one more time. I think there's a good team there. There is.
That's what the Bruins do.
The Bruins in the playoffs. It sucks.
They take smart teams, open their skulls, and take a shit.
Yeah. By the way,
Bruins Pens is going to be awesome.
Tuukka Rask is on the last of his years in Boston, and I know he's got a family and stuff to consider. But if I'm Ken Holland, I throw all the money at him. All the money. What do you want? What do you want? I'll give you Bobrovsky money. I got Connor McDavid. I got to make it work now. So what do you want? I'm not going to be here in 3 years anyway. What do you want?
I don't think he wants it. The one thing, something you can say about Boston, there's a magic to that place. I really like it, and I think the players love it.
It's a fucking great place to see a game.
Dude, it's so good.
I've never had so much fun watching the Leafs lose 6-0. It was great. Like, it was really...
It's one of the worst hockey games I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, we're had a blast.
If we're power ranking American cities to play hockey, is Boston number one?
Oh,
I think
top 5 without thinking of any other cities.
I think
Vegas, New York, Boston, probably somewhere in there.
I'm gonna say your top 5 have got to be the Rangers, the Bruins, the Preds, the Golden Knights, and after that, it's not that anybody else isn't great. Tampa's probably up there too, because of what a great lifestyle you have there, and the fans are bananas.
Yeah.
But I think Boston's probably the best place. I go Boston, Nashville, Vegas.
Boston, Nashville. That's not a bad list. Yeah.
A lot of yellow.
Steve,
maybe Pittsburgh should be in there then. Like maybe.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
What's your top 3 power ranking American cities to play hockey?
It's tough because I haven't seen games in a ton of places, but Boston is so fun. How many games have I seen there? 2. That's been really good. I didn't get to see Madison Square Garden. I bought fake tickets and lost my money.
Yeah.
Buffalo's nothing special. No offense. It's not as bad as people say, for God's sake.
Oh my God, no.
Where in the States the Preds have to be up there? It's tough. I just haven't been to enough American venues.
Okay. Well, there's a
So you didn't answer the question.
Well, I'm not the right guy to ask.
Well, dude, we've been to less than you have, but we're still answering the question.
No, you haven't.
Well, I've been to the Predators.
Yeah. So have
Boston.
I. Yeah, so have I.
Yeah.
You've been to Tampa. I haven't.
You've been to Pittsburgh. I haven't.
Oh, there you go. So
and you saw Pittsburgh in the finals.
We're still tied. That's true.
Never been to Detroit. Never been to Buffalo. Never been to Detroit.
I've been to Buffalo.
Never been to Buffalo. What's the next series? I do want to see games in Detroit and Buffalo this upcoming season. I have to do that. It's ridiculous. They're driving distance. It's stupid. Yeah. The next one, because we already got to the Avs and Blues, is actually I wanted to do a quick note on the Canucks because that is the end of the series. At least for now.
Pens Isles.
I mean, I don't know what else to say on that one. I mean, you guys have any thoughts on that series? It's of the series, and with apologies to Pens and Isles fans, it's kind of the quiet one, is it not?
I like the Sidney Crosby appreciation fest that goes on when he's on a national stage again. That's always fun to watch.
What a lunatic on the puck. He's unbelievable.
The Islanders, for how dominant the Penguins are, the Islanders are playing them exactly how we thought they would.
It's 2-2. I raised my eyebrow a little bit when Jesse goes, "Oh, Bruins Pens is going to be great." I'm like, "Is it?"
It's going to be great. Bruins Pens is going to be great, you guys.
I mean, that's still how I think this plays out, but
I'm still excited for the fallout of Jesse Blake versus the city of Edmonton. I think that's going to be fun.
He hates blue and orange. Hates it.
Hey, next season I said you guys could be good, but this season you don't have it.
Yeah, no, clearly.
Yeah. So.
And
I don't think that's hot to take.
Barzal, 5 points through 4 games. It's weird that him being a scratch had no effect on how good he is as a player. I just like to say that I was unperturbed by that late season scolding that he got from his coach. Unperturbed. He's still sick.
I want to talk about the Canucks quickly. There were fans protesting yesterday outside of the arena.
Actually?
What?
Yeah, they were
I
standing
don't see
outside
that.
of Rogers Arena this weekend, protesting and saying, "Please, God, change the management here."
No.
That's how bad it is.
That's how you spent your long weekend?
Yeah, it's a long weekend in Canada. We get like 4.
Oh dear.
And-
oh no.
God bless Canucks fans.
So yeah, seriously, do you not feel terrible for them? So then obviously, so it was a surprise to me on Saturday night when during headlines, Elliot Friedman's like, "Hey, by the way, JT Miller's not going to ask for a trade." I was like, when did that become a rumor?
What?
Why? And so I don't actually, and I can't actually find an article that says he was going to ask for a trade. So I didn't know. And I follow Canucks Twitter. A lot of people, I haven't seen it. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. But he's not asking for a trade. So there you go. And the Sedins could be coming back. And I'm concerned here because sometimes this can be good. Sometimes this can be not good. The Sedins are going to, there's an offer on the table for the Sedins to come back in some sort of role. And sometimes that can be really good. Like look with Sakic in Colorado, Yzerman in Tampa, and now Detroit. Sometimes it turns into the owner wants to hang out with the cool guys who used to play hockey, like in Edmonton. So I think the Sedins are pretty business oriented. Be pretty tough to see how they wouldn't want to be taskmasters at this one. What role do they play, do you think, at this point that benefits, and frankly, a general manager and crew that are 8 years into this? Like, what are the Sedins going to offer as far as an edge?
I do like that the Sedins play kind of a timeless style of hockey. Mm-hmm. Like if they were both in their primes, you know, you take the Sedins from 2003, 2004, 2005, whatever, when they were much younger, and you plop them into today's NHL, they'd be just fine. They'd be A-okay. I do like that there's also a bit of a buffer, almost like a translator for them, because Alex Edler is still there, and he was part of that whole Canucks heyday. The clip was going around today of Kevin Bieksa's overtime winner that came off of a fluky bounce off of an Alex Edler. I don't know. He was the last Canuck to have the puck before Bieksa did. So I do like that Edler can sort of be the fill-in, hey, here's what you might have missed to the Canucks organization. But what I just don't see is what Jim Benning has left to offer that team. It doesn't even need to be that he's done anything wrong. It's what is he going to do right? What
As
is he
an
going to
FYI,
do?
Just to add to your point, Steve, before you keep going, the goal for the Canucks this offseason is to look for forward depth.
I just, guys, you need a smart management type guy. And listen, the argument that Benning is a good scout, I have more than enough time for. Yep. Looks like he's pretty good at talent evaluation. Giving this guy the power to offer contracts is lunacy. Listen, not everyone's a numbers guy. And it's about time the Canucks organization understood this guy's weaknesses and strengths. Now, not too many guys take a demotion, very well, but I think you can keep him in the organization. I think he'd be fine. I think he'd help him. Mm-hmm. General manager? No, absolutely not. That ship has sailed.
And you can't tell me that, the Canucks have not been strong since he took over. We're now going into season 8.
How long are you going to ride almost winning second round series?
Right.
The Oilers
and how many steps they took? How many steps back after that, though? That's the thing.
Yes, but think about how they almost won in the second round.
But those players aren't there anymore.
But they almost won in the second round.
You're not listening, Adam.
Adam, you're not listening.
Like, come on.
And they follow in the footsteps of other great Canadian teams to almost win in the second round. The 2017 Oilers, that's a team worth holding on to for another 2 years, despite no evidence that they're the same. You know what I mean? Like, good Lord. The bar is low. Under the ocean in this country for the 7 teams that play in it. The Jets and the Sens are like the crown jewel of one day you can almost win the third round. You know, hey, all you almost winning the second round losers, why don't you get on board with the almost winning the third round less losers? Like, hey, I miss the heyday of about 10 years ago when Canadian teams almost won the fourth round.
Which was a thing.
Yeah. Oh, there was a great
Oilers
time period where
Canucks?
almost every year a Canadian team almost won the fourth round. The Flames had a shot, they almost won. The Oilers had a shot, they almost won. The Sens had a shot, they almost won. And then there was a couple year layoff and we got worried. But then in 2011, the Canucks stepped up to the mantle of almost winning in the fourth round.
They kept it alive. The dream.
They kept the dream alive.
And then tried to transform it into the Bruins.
Oh, the standard has dropped. We started accepting almost third round, and then now we're at almost second. And what happened to this once great hockey nation?
The Canadian
Holy shit, the Canadian team's got to raise the bar. It's terrible.
Is it a media phenomenon? Because I don't think any fan cheers for Canadian teams. Like it's more of a media phenomenon, is it not?
What do you mean?
When like the media is grouping these Canadians, no Canadian team has made the second round or gone to the finals or won a cup. Like I don't think fans cheer like that at all.
We're oftentimes too petty for that. Although I had to say the 2011 Canucks, the 06 Oilers, and the 04 Flames. Sorry, Senators, I couldn't get behind it because it's the Senators. But those three teams, man. The Dwayne Rolison going down in the first game of the Oilers. That was the Oilers horrible. Cup. They were going to win. The Flames got fucking jobbed. The Flames should have won in 04. They should have won. It was a joke that they didn't. And honestly, the Canucks, it's literally a game. It's a toss-up. And that was a fun team to watch. Right. There's nothing not to like about that team.
Why would Canadians have any affinity for these other franchises just because they're in Canada? There's 32 teams in the league.
And that's the thing about
that. Other ones that are in Canada.
It's a media narrative because we got the small man syndrome, right? Yeah. America doesn't go, well, at least the cup's in America.
Right.
Like they do when the Raptors win the championship because that's a different sport.
Yes.
But in hockey, they're not like, at least an American team got it. There's only 20 of us, 23 of us, actually.
It's not about that, Jesse. It's just that all the Canadian teams seem to think the same. And I don't mean it as a compliment. Like it's they all the Canucks especially, and you relate it to the Oilers, and there's a little bit of Flames in there. They all have had these management groups that have stuck around for too long because they almost did something once. You know what I mean? And like the Sens hung on. They had their hands forced a little bit. Players wanting out, etc., and ownership and money. That was a little different. The Montreal Canadiens have gotten all the rope in the world for winning a couple rounds a couple years ago, or however long ago that was.
Yeah, when was that?
I don't even remember. Was it 2017?
Yeah, and then they won the play-in round last year.
I was about to say last year knocking off Pittsburgh.
Jeez.
They have all this rope now. They got into the playoffs.
They did look good.
Unless you're the head coach. Like I don't understand how these teams think. I just feel like it's the Canadian teams. If you win a round or heavens to Betsy too. Oh shit. Congrats on job security for the next half decade for almost doing something once. I just feel like it's not tolerated in other places.
A quick note on Jim Benning, if you guys don't mind, before we get to the press conference. I do want to say that when, and I mentioned this in the last show, when referring to a victim or an alleged victim of any crime, if they're over the age of 18, the proper way to refer to them is their adult pronoun. So in this case, a woman who was accused one of your players of sexual assault should be referred to as a woman. Multiple times during the press conference, and Steve, you made a really good point about this. He referred to this person as the girl. And to me, it really dug at me because I actually got to watch it afterwards. I found it diminishing and reductive. And I don't think for an instant that Jim Benning would have been out there being like, you know what, screw this person. but I think it's extremely important that we have to say something when he does. Whether or not you meant to is sort of immaterial at this point. What happens when you do that is it's basically been used in the past to stop people from being taken seriously. So, she's barely an adult. She's still a young girl. She's still a girl. She's a young adult, but she's a girl. And people aren't taken seriously when crimes like this are reported. Oh, practically still a girl. So I want to say, and I want to reinforce Steve's point because I'm literally stealing Steve's point. If you want to be a GM in the NHL today, you should know how to speak publicly about these things, not just about hockey. You can't bury your head in the sand and go, I'm not watching anything like with the Alain Vigneault. We haven't seen anything. The only thing we're focused on is hockey. Bullshit.
Oh, that.
Bullshit. And this is about anything and everything. And I have to say, this will very likely not be the last accusation of sexual assault leveled at a professional hockey player. We know that. And we're working to change that, but we know pretty well that will not be the case. So NHL GMs need to be able to know how to conduct themselves publicly because we need to demand more of our teams. They need to be sensitive to these issues, understand that their fans are not just men. There are women, female fans, almost exactly the same amount. And that you need to be speaking to both sides on that. If we're serious about combating this issue, we have to make true changes. And that means words matter. And that means if you're Francesco Aquilini, you call Jim Benning and saying, we're taking you in for training on this, because that is absolutely unacceptable. Now, I doubt, like I said, Jim Benning wanted to sound dismissive, but he sounded dismissive. And he needs to be educated on how not to do that in the future. We all fuck up. I fuck up all the time. We're learning. But remember, I'm not an NHL GM. Steve is not an NHL GM. Jesse's not an NHL GM. We are people who started our own podcast, and we're learning and trying to speak properly on this. If you're an NHL GM, a position of eminence, a position of everybody's looking at you, watching you, you're a leader in the community, you're a leader on your team, you're a leader in your organization, you need to know how to be able to speak to and speak about issues relating to sexual assault and other things too. Yeah. And if you're a woman working for the Canucks, no matter how nice Jim Benning is, how do you feel working for him when he calls somebody the girl?
And
that's an issue for me. And I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be nefarious, like you were saying, but like this, it needs to be handled with extra care. Right. And the more things you get wrong, the less it appears that way.
Address people properly, Steve. Right.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem that I've brought up many times with this team. It's nothing against the guy, but like, Jesus,
well, it is a little against the guy.
It is a little against the guy. You got
against the guy.
You can't talk.
Yeah, the position comes with a certain amount of responsibility if you're going to be a mouthpiece to the media and representing the crest, like the team itself and the media. And if you don't know how to speak properly, like that's on you.
Then the highest you will get to is AGM. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Well, and dude, it's 7 years now.
Yeah.
7 years. What training?
But forget the Canucks. Yeah, forget the Canucks performance on the ice, right? 7 years of bad press conferences and then this.
Yeah.
And I know not a lot was made of it. And I get that people are going to be like, what are you making? It's a big deal. This person needs to speak about these things with the gravity that they deserve. It's ridiculous. Enough. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on it. Let's get to the press conference. I'm going to make it real quick. Breaking news. This important PSA is brought to you by Manscaped.com. This is your pubic service announcement and the news you've all been waiting for. The Manscaped engineering team has now confirmed that we have successfully created the Lawnmower 4.0. It's a trimmer, which is now available for purchase in the USA and right here in Canada. This new trimmer was just released only moments ago, and we are one of the first to get our hands on it and share the news. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer to you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SDP at manscaped.com. Now, I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0. And let me just say, I am blown away by the experience, the craftsmanship, the detail. It feels like a 4.0. You know what I'm saying? Their advanced ceramic blade and skin-safe technology is so good, it almost seems as though Manscaped worked with engineers to ensure that your area would be safe. You could send it to space and it'd be fine. Yeah, actually, I gotta be honest with you, it works really great. So I would highly suggest that you Go to manscaped.com and get free shipping and get 20% off. And all you have to do is use the code SDP. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code SDP. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for your tool.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
First thing off the top, we need to mention that the PWHPA Secret Dream Gap Tour kicks off today in Calgary. This isn't a promo, but you can watch it on Sportsnet now. You're welcome, Steve Dangle, for promoting your network. Toronto.
Buy a Rogers product.
Toronto plays Montreal today, which is very fitting because we have Toronto-Montreal. It's Team Sunnit versus Team Bauer. Kicks off at 5 o'clock. Go watch those women play hockey. They are excellent at it.
Absolutely.
And it should be great competition. It takes place all week. I think the championship is on Sunday, May 30th. So it's a little week-long tournament. Should be fun.
And I would also like to shout out some friends who are I'm jealous because they were able to leave the country to do something. Ailish Forfar, Story Sayers, and Chris Tanoia are overseas working the World Hockey Championship right now.
As is Lindsay Hamilton from TSN. Just throwing that out there too.
Yeah, but Bell. And so I would just like I'm joking. I'd just like to shout you out. Congrats on being able to go there and please kill it.
All right. It looks nice in the summer, by the way.
First thing up, we have
shout out Latvia. Sorry for beating Canada.
We have a controversy that we need to address. I sent you guys a video from Steve's home nation. So over the weekend, Italy won Eurovision.
Oh,
Eurovision, if you don't know, is the European competition of bands. So every country gets a band and they compete in like a March Madness kind of tournament. And then one band wins Eurovision. So they're the ultimate band of Europe. And this year, a group from Italy won the Eurovision. So they were performing a song. The band's called Manskin. I'm not saying that correctly. I don't know.
And they're like a heavy metal band, right?
They're a heavy metal band, and the song they won with is called "Shut Up and Be Quiet." That's what it translates to because they're a heavy metal band. The song's called "Shut Up and Be Quiet." I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it in Italian, but so they win. And everything's going crazy. They're sitting at the thing. It's all hype. And then the drummer, I believe,
always the drummer.
So the lead singer. It was the lead singer, Damano David. I'm not saying that correctly either. But Mr. David bends down to the table. Have you guys seen the video now?
Yes.
I've seen the video, but I can't hear it.
Oh, okay, there's no audio. It's okay. He bends down at the table and he 100% does a line of cocaine live on television. Now, the producers of Eurovision have come out.
Oh, he does!
Yeah, he does.
The European Broadcasting Union, who produces the Eurovision, have come out and said the band have strongly refuted the allegations of drug use, and the singer in question will take a voluntary drug test after arriving home. Furthermore, the band insists that no drugs were present, and the EBU even confirmed that broken glass was found after on-site. So the band's story is that Mr. David was bending down to check out some broken glass that had broken on the table, and that he was not doing drugs. Now that you guys know the full story and you've seen the tape, what is your conclusions?
I guess I just haven't been around enough people who have done blow. But like, I don't know. There's enough plausible deniability there, I guess.
I think his head's too high off the table to do blow, to be honest with you.
Where's the straw? You're right.
Where's the, it's too, I think he's just punking the world. And I think I've never personally done cocaine. And I would tell you if I had, but I've seen it a lot. And that doesn't look like a guy doing actual cocaine to me.
I've never seen it once. Maybe his nail? Nah. There's enough plausible deniability. What I'm appreciating is I'm looking at that bowl full of beer and I'm like, is that Peroni right now? Boys, you want to have some Ronies?
So, Steve, is your home country? They're okay.
My home country is where I'm from, where I was born. on the hill. I was born on the hills of Monteleone, and don't worry, we're just fine. We're so happy to have beaten every country in Europe, plus randomly Australia, who gets to compete in EuroVision.
All right. So we've concluded that the entire Italian culture has been exonerated.
That's right.
Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde don't think he did cocaine live on television.
I wonder what that test will come back and say. By the way, it's notorious for not staying in your system very long. I know this from living in Alberta, where they regularly drug tested people that worked on the rigs, the oil patch guys. So they come into the city, and instead of smoking weed, which was illegal at the time, they would do cocaine, because weed stays in your system a long time. Coke does not. Which
was also illegal at the time.
Also illegal at the time, yeah. No longer illegal.
More illegal.
Yeah.
All right. First question comes from @screw_Feb22. Favorite video game series? If you guys had to pick a video game series as your favorite, we're talking non-sports here. What's your favorite video game series?
I'm such a lame gamer.
I am too. I think if I were to say anything, the Grand Theft Auto series, including Red Dead Redemption, is the greatest of all time. And I don't think there's, you could say Super Mario is probably the biggest impact on society, but the best, most in-depth games.
We're talking your favorite, though.
My favorite is Far Cry.
Okay. That's your Far Cry.
You're all about Far Cry.
Love it. It's just chaos.
So what's Far Cry?
Open world. You're basically dropped into a scenario every time where you can't leave, and there's something happening that is really dangerous. So like the first two are a little bit different. So Far Cry 1 and 2 don't really kind of match with the rest, but Far Cry 3, you're like on a deserted island, and there's and you land in a cartel island, and the locals are trying to fight back against the cartel, and you're helping them. And it's a bit cartoony, and it's a bit action movie, and that's sort of the point. And the most recent one took place in Montana, and it's like a doomsday cult that's taken over this little town, and they've blocked all the entrances because it's in a mountain region, so you can't get out. Yeah, and it's so sick, and you have to defeat several different bosses, and you can get. They can run you down and kidnap you, and it's one of those things where you're randomly walking down the street, something blows up, an animal attacks you, or there's a convoy headed towards you all of a sudden, and you have to run off to the side. You can't walk anywhere in this fucking game without shit happening. And sometimes too, you'll see a big animals fighting each other, and it's just nuts. And the next one is going to be. It's supposed to be modeled on Cuba-ish, of a dictatorial government, and it's a tropical island, and there's a ton of unrest because they're trying to overthrow the ruler, and the ruler is basically training his son. You should check out the trailer for it. By the way, also a Canadian game. I believe it's made out of Ubisoft Montreal.
Oh no!
Yeah. Really good, really good.
That's cool.
I love Red Dead Redemption 2. It's hard to say series, though, because I've never played Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption's really good.
And here's what I loved about Red Dead Redemption 2. I had heard of John Marston. That's all I went into it with.
Oof.
So now that I know, I obviously know the story of Red Dead Redemption now, but I went into that game naked. I didn't know a thing. So everything that happened was shocking. Everyone who died, everyone who survived. If I knew the plot to Red Dead Redemption, I'd be like, okay, well, I know this guy's not in it, so he's probably going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's probably going to go. And this guy I know is going to survive because he's in the second one, or he's in the original one. But every death, I was like, no! No! How dare you? But I'd say series, the series that I've followed for the longest time, and everyone get ready to find me so attractive, StarCraft.
Oh, so good. So StarCraft. Good. Great story. Really great story.
Someone tweeted me the other day, for some reason, I don't even remember the context, a screen cap from the StarCraft Legacy of the Void trailer. And I then went and watched that trailer, ran through several walls, and I am now in the middle of watching every cinematic, and I'm probably going to go find a YouTube video that is just someone playing that game from start to finish.
How can you play Star? Like there was the 3 new ones that came out. Because there was the original game, and then there was Brood Wars, and then there was nothing for 15 years, and then the next 3 came out.
Yeah.
And I how do you even play the newer 3 anymore? Is it Steam? Maybe.
I'm pretty sure Wings of Liberty still works on my old laptop. It just makes it set on fire. That's the problem. So I'll have to. Oh God. No, I have a kid. I don't have time. This is what I said to myself the other day. I don't have time for this, but God, it's so fun.
I'm just opening up my Steam account right now to see if it's up there. Jesse, what about you?
I can't do it.
I only play sports video games, so I'm lame in that way.
So what's your favorite
If
one?
I had to do my favorite one of all time, it's definitely MLB The Show games.
It's so good.
I still think it's the best sports video game ever made. Like, and the what they've done in the last couple of years of just like adding all of the features from the greatest baseball. So MVP Baseball 2005 is regarded as the best baseball video game ever made. And like, I think the show has doubled that and surpassed it in every single way, because at the beginning, they kind of they took all the features from the greatest game ever. And then now and especially because it was Sony exclusive for so many years that you have this developer team that's building on this ecosystem where they know every in-depth of how to build on the PlayStation. That's all they have to worry about. You don't have to worry about making this game so it can port over to PC, and they can also work on Xbox. So they had this range where just these Sony developers are working within a Sony ecosystem to just max out the console. So every year I felt like the MLB The Show game was just this massive game, and it didn't match anything else because you had these guys working inside just Sony. So yeah, I think they've nailed it for the last like 10 years. And so that'd probably definitely be my favorite video game series. Yeah, especially the when you're doing the show, like the creative where you go as your individual self, and you like start in the minors and then you work your way up to the show.
Oh,
like,
it's so fun.
It's so good when you create a player and you get every little aspect of being an MLB player. It's awesome.
I like being a pitcher, which means you get into like 15 games and the season's done. But what pissed me off is like, I remember one year, this is before they really updated the contract mechanics. I won the Cy Young twice in a row, and they're like, here's $1 million.
Yeah. Because in baseball,
I want to make imaginary money.
In baseball, you don't have a lot of rights until like you're 7 years in. That's when you hit free agency and you got to accrue all of this MLB service time. But in real life, they pay you a lot more. So the AI is kind of broken in that way, because they're like, we don't have to pay you. You're not a free agent. So here's $1 million, even though you're 21-0 and you had a 1 ERA and you won the Cy Young.
That was the problem.
Makes sense.
That was the problem with NHL for a while. It's like, well, why am I holding out for more money? It has no impact on my life or in the game, and I want to be a Leaf. So
bye.
League min, like you league min, and I scored 250 points. Like they needed to make it so that like it actually matters. Yeah. And I want to say they didn't they make it so that like you can buy attributes or something like that?
Yeah. Well, I remember too when they like getting called up like early on and scoring like 6 goals, and then the Leafs send you back down. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, when you get the little the 5-game tryout or whatever, and you light it up and you're a point a game, and then they're like, we're gonna send you back to the. And then there was
injury issues too. I remember one year I got drafted by the Blackhawks after playing the full fucking Memorial Cup, and for some reason, I guess I had the injury thing set normally, but I got injured and I missed like 40 games at a time. Like it was, I'd play a game, I'd score a bunch of goals, and then I'd get hit. My player was out and they're like, oh, you got to pull the injury thing down. I'm like, that's the default setting though. What's going on here?
Real life, you got fragile bones.
Yeah, I guess so. Just a big old breakable guy.
Yeah.
So
the baseball games were fun when they implemented like when your character and you got to run the bases, and it's like you never thought in a baseball game you'd actually be controlling the guy who's running around the bases in like real time, where you're just kind of sprinting to the base, and then you flick your analog stick to do a certain slide. Like they got so in depth with that stuff. It's awesome.
There was a baseball game that I played. It was like on the original Nintendo. It was way back in the day. It was obviously years after it came out, but like you'd try to hit certain parts of the field, because if you aim at another part, you know that you're not going to be able to stop your player from running. So you're just going to get shafted by the animation. And like he's running toward third. He's never going to make it. The ball is already there. Stop running, you dumbass.
You can't cancel the animation. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just get stuck.
That was my issue with Ken Griffey's Major League Baseball. If you sent a runner, both runners would send. And you were like,
wow.
So I'm going to fuck. I'm fucked. I'm totally fucked.
Yeah.
So you had to be sure. Anyway, we should probably wrap it up with that. We will be back Wednesday to see who the hell knows what will happen between now and Wednesday. Montreal and Toronto tonight, Edmonton and Winnipeg tonight. We'll see if the Oilers are still playing hockey by Wednesday. Should be really, really interesting.
We got 2 Leafs games, right? Monday, Tuesday.
Yep.
Back to back, baby.
Wow.
A couple days for your boy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Steve's live streams.
Good. Oh, yeah. Watch Steve's live streams. They're doing great. Keep them up.
Intaro Tassadar.
That's a...
Yeah, I'm really cool.
Nerds.
No, I'm not. I'm very cool.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.